guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show. Hello if you're new. So today's video is going to be a review of Onward. I recently hit 1.3k subscribers, so thank you very much to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, maybe after watching this you could consider subscribing. Yes, we're back to the video format. I've been being a bit lazy and doing a podcasty format, but I'm back to the video format. I might do some podcast formats from time to time if I just generally don't have time to film, but yeah, you're gonna be seeing my face a lot more. So yeah, obviously Onwards, it comes out on the 6th. Hopefully I'm uploading this on the 5th. If not, it'll be on the 6th. Premiered at the Berlin International Film Festival, also known as Berlinale. I actually did go to Berlinale, so that's where I watched it. I watched it at the press screening at 9 a.m, girl, like 9 a.m. to watch this film. I'm not gonna lie, the only reason why I went to see it is because it has Tom Holland in it and Chris Pratt in it and Olivia Spencer. That is literally the only reason why I went to see it. I'm not gonna lie, from time to time in festivals, I usually prioritize live action films to animations. But I feel like after watching this film, I feel like I should stop being so biased and maybe take more chances on animated film and animated film in cinema as well. Most of the time when I'm going to go watch films is at press screenings, but when I do go to the actual cinema to watch things, it's usually live action. It's rarely ever animated. So I think I'm definitely going to make an effort to see more animated film and watch more animated film. So if anybody has any animated film recommendations, please let me know in the comments. So yes. Anyway, back to the film. So a summary of the film. So how the film starts is it basically gives us this kind of introduction into the city and the city's history. It used to be this city full of magic and wonders, and everyone used to practice magic. But in the new modern world that they are living in, everyone's using technology and everyone's kind of forgotten their roots, kind of linking it into, maybe it's kind of like a sly dig of our dependency on technology. That's what I was kind of getting. And then we center in on this family that includes the main characters Ian and Barley. They're brothers. Ian has just turned 16. He's quite shy. He's a bit of a loner. He doesn't really have any friends at school. His older brother is kind of a typical, hasn't really made much of his life. He's kind of just like a conspiracy theorist and is a fan of the old time and is really interested in the history of the town. They live with their mother and their father has died. The father died when Ian was really young, and Ian's always had this thing where he wanted to know his father and he wanted to be like his father because everyone used to say how amazing his father is. Then, would you know, 16th birthday comes around and his mother gives him a gift from his father that was meant to be given to him on his 16th birthday because it's like an important birthday in their town. And then the gift reveals some revelations about the father that takes us on this big magical adventure with the brothers. In terms of the narrative, I didn't instantly warm to the film. When I first came into the theatre watching the film, watching the introduction, I was just like, oh, this is kind of feeling like a cheesy animated film. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna like it, but by the end I loved it. I really loved it. I feel like it's one of those ones where you grow to love it, but it's not like you have to wait to the middle to love it. I'd say about a third of the film in, you start to warm to the characters, and by halfway you love them. But yeah, I'd be interested to know whether your first impressions differed from what you felt at the end of the film, because I feel like it definitely changed throughout the film. In terms of the characters, obviously we're just kind of going off like the voice acting here. I felt like they all did a good job. Tom Holland did a great job as the kind of awkward, loner teenager who's kind of frustrated with his brother, who was embarrassed and frustrated with his brother. Chris Pratt plays the perfect overbearing sibling that just lives to embarrass you and doesn't realize how much they're embarrassing you. Can definitely relate. Other notable characters that I loved, I really loved Olivia Spencer's the Manticore. I felt like she was absolutely hilarious. I really loved the transition of her going from corporate manticore to like her natural wild manticore. I really loved that transition. Another character that I loved was Officer Bronco, which was the boys' mother's boyfriend, played by Mel Rodriguez. I felt like he was hilarious, and the whole Nay hair flip routine that he did, even though it was repetitive, I lived for it every single time. Overall, in terms of like the characters in the town, one note I can make is that, again, the kind of characters and the cast, one thing that I noticed is the diversity. Like, you could see, I don't know how to describe it, because some of them like elves, but you can kind of tell that like they were different ethnicities. They were Latinx elves, they were black elves, ethnic features such as afro hair. I don't know how to describe it, because they were all elves and they all had like similar skin colors, but you could tell that they were like based off different ethnicities, which I thought was quite nice to see, because I always appreciate when effort is taken to diversify the look of animated characters and to be more inclusive. It was also LGBT inclusion, and none of it felt forced. Like, sometimes it does feel a bit forced, like it's just like, okay, this is what's in right now, so we're going to adhere to it, but it did feel very natural, which I appreciate, despite it being like a fictional animation. In terms of the narrative and the journey that we're taking on, I really enjoyed the journey. I felt like it was semi-predictable, but there were some parts where it wasn't as predictable, which I appreciated. I feel like in terms of the ending that we see, I felt like it was a bit of you wouldn't really expect it. I felt like a lot of time was taken to make things interesting, maybe not going the way that we thought it was going to go, and still making it satisfying without it being absolutely predictable. Particularly the ending, I really appreciated. I felt like that was a nice touch. It wasn't what I thought was going to happen, but I still enjoyed it. It wasn't what I thought was going to happen, but I still enjoyed it. In terms of the tone of the writing, it's very upbeat. It's very funny. There's so many laugh out loud moments. There's also some really touching moments, and I feel like sometimes with like PG animation, sometimes it feels a bit forced, but it felt very natural. Like, I proper like actually caught the feels. Like, it wasn't even just like, okay, this has been put here because we want you to feel type of way. Like, it felt like really natural, my emotions, especially the ending. If I was a crier, I probably would have cried at that ending. That ending was like so wholesome, so sweet, so touching. Really commend the writing. I feel like this is one of the best written animations I've watched in a while. And in terms of the writing style, I think it is centered around a more mature child. I would say maybe a younger child might enjoy it because of the action, but in terms of actually understanding and, you know, keeping up with the jokes, I feel like it's made for more mature kids, and adults can appreciate it as well. So can teenagers. I feel like probably from like 9+ children, and, you know, I'd recommend it for children who can't see rated R things or 15 things yet. This would be a good film. In terms of adults watching this, I would recommend going to go watch it. If you want to see like a nice PG animation, I'd recommend so many kind of adult-centered jokes in here that only adults would get and understand. So yeah, I think this is definitely targeted towards an older audience, I think. In terms of the animation, I can't fault it. I don't think I've ever watched a Pixar that did not look good, like as in like at the time, you know, because sometimes, you know, when you go back and watch old animations, you're just like, wow, this is rubbish. I feel like Pixar can do no wrong with animation. Everything was crisp, everything was blended, from the characters to the scenery. I like the animation style, I like the character designs. As I said, they've also taken the time to like make different kind of ethnicities within the monsters and the elves and the creatures. So yeah, I feel like the animation is 10 out of 10. I literally cannot fault the animation. I'm not really sure. I guess there could be a sequel for it. I'm not really sure how the sequel would go. Maybe it would be something around the city now getting more into magic, because magic is a big theme in it. In terms of the sequel, I would be here for a sequel. I would be skeptical about it though, because I just feel like, could they top this film? good there. And I think like the specific subject with the dad makes a big part of this film. And without the dad being an element in it, I'm not really sure if it would have the same tone if they were just to focus on the brothers for the next film. Obviously, I'd be interested in seeing it, but I'm not sure if a second one would be as good as the first one. But I'd be interested to hear from people who have watched it. What do you think? A sequel would be a good thing, or do you feel like this was a good film, they should just stop it here and let it be an iconic film in history? Let me know what you think. Moving on to the rating, I definitely enjoyed the film. It definitely took me a bit of time to get into the film to enjoy it, because I was just like, ugh, because I thought in the beginning it was a bit cheesy, but by the end I absolutely loved the film, and I think anyone who watches it will fall in love with the characters and enjoy the film. So I'm going to give the film a 3.5 out of 5. I felt like it's a solid 3.5. I felt like it's a really good production and a job well done from Pixar and everyone involved. I think it could potentially have the potential to be the animation of the year, I think. Maybe I'm speaking a bit too soon, but it definitely has the potential to be the animation of the year. If you haven't watched the film, let me know if this is a film that you are interested in watching. If you have watched the film, let me know what you thought of it. What would you rate it out of 5? What did you think of my review? And subscribe if you haven't yet. And if you have, don't forget to press that notification bell so you'll know when the next review is dropping. I do have quite a few more Berlin reviews left, but most of them are going to be a bit more Netflix centered. So if you're interested, make sure to click that notification bell. Till next time, guys.